Good morning, everyone. This is Amy from Amy Parker Art, and I'm here with my friend Jamie from Creations of Studio 39. Every other Friday morning at 9:30 a.m. EST, we do what's called these coffee chats. And we love to talk to all of you creative entrepreneurs and help you out with some ideas and things like that. Anyway, good morning, Jamie.
Good morning. I'm having some iced coffee today.
Nice. I'm
Yeah,
having hot coffee in
in her
our
mug.
in our Amy and Jamie coffee mug. So
That's so
cheers to
fun.
you.
Mine's like one that I get from a local coffee shop. So if I take it to the coffee shop, then I can get like their size coffee and so they fill it up more, right? So because
Ooh,
so I have my like little to-go cup and it's what do you call it? Like uh cork I get, thermal and it's got the cork on there. So, yeah. So, I had leftover coffee from yesterday and rather than fix a new pot, I was like, I'm just going to make some iced coffee with it.
there you go. I had iced coffee yesterday. Gotta have my coffee every day. Hello, hello, good
There's
morning.
Nilda. Yep. So, let us
Yeah.
know if you were having coffee or tea or I went through like a period of about 6 weeks or so where coffee just didn't taste good. It was the weirdest thing. So I was having matcha tea. So I have some of that. And I just saw something today. It was an ad, that pulled up in my feed. And it was some kind, it was like CO brew or something. It was spelled differently, but it was like coffee, but it was chocolate.
Mm.
I was like, so
Well,
it had like
I would
less
like to know what
sugar.
that is.
I know. And people, I was kind of like reading the comments. I was like, oh, I've never heard about that. So I must have been talking about coffee or something, and my feed heard it. So yeah. Oh, Nilda
Finish
ran out of her favorite. Oh no.
Oh, that's a bummer when that happens.
Yeah.
I'm in a new setup right now
I saw
because
that.
yeah, my husband is busy working. We have what's called Bike Week here in Laconia. It's the 100th anniversary. He is a sound engineer for all the bands there, and it's just craziness going on. I see my husband for like 5 minutes. I hear him actually getting up right now, so I'll probably be able to wave to him and do this goodbye. But I didn't want to wake him up with my voice because I talk pretty loud. I'm half deaf. So that's why I'm down here in my kitchen. See the living room
Oh,
behind
okay.
me. So like I'm in a new setup, so I wouldn't wake him up. Good morning, Brenda. Thanks for joining us.
Jessica
Awesome,
says she's on her
Jessica.
second cup. A caffeine IV. Do they make this? Oh my goodness.
I like the medium roast as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's about I think I'm drinking Starbucks their breakfast blend, which I think is a
Oh,
medium roast. So,
yummy.
yeah. Oh, it looks like
Yummy.
Jamie was able to join us live. She wasn't sure if she was going to be able to come on live with us. So, what's our topic today, Amy?
Our topic is top tips to going live.
Very good. So you can let
Yeah.
us know in the comments if you do live videos, if you consistently do live videos, because I would say that that's my number one tip is you want to do it consistently. I don't believe that what time you go live matters as much as if you do it consistently. What do you think, Amy?
I think you're right on with that. And I got my pen as always because I'm always writing stuff down. Um, but yeah, consistency is very important. There was a time when I did like on my business page every Tuesday night. I did this for I think almost an entire year. Every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. I would do like a painting tip or painting tutorial. And that was pretty cool. And that went over, pretty well. But it's kind of difficult to go live at a specific time, always for me anyway, on my page. But I try and go live at least 1 or 2 times a week, and to at
Yeah,
least be consistent in that way.
right. And that's what I mean by consistent. I was getting the echo. That's what I mean by being consistent, is just showing up. It doesn't mean that it has to be perfect. It doesn't mean that it has to be, the same. I find success when I do a video at the same time, because then my viewers know what to expect and like when I'm going to show up. That doesn't always mean that they show up and watch live, but they know when to expect that I would be there so that they can come back and watch the replay.
Yeah.
Jamie has improved so much. I've kind of seen from the beginning of when she was never doing lives, and she's not awkward.
I'd like to do a little shout out to her. Jamie, wasn't Jamie one of your guests recently that you had on your page?
Yes, I interviewed Jamie on Monday, I believe it was.
Yeah. And I saw part of that, and I know she's saying it's awkward, but I thought you did great, Jamie.
Mhm.
So nice
Yeah.
job.
Yep, definitely. So that would definitely be my number one tip, is figure out a way that you can go live once a week. I mean, I think once a week should be like a non-negotiable, try to do that once a week. And it doesn't have to be a 45-minute live. It doesn't have to be a full tutorial. You just want to show up and offer some kind of value. Oh, that will be my tip number 2. You want to offer some kind of value in your video. And if somebody wants to be typing up these comments, or these tips in the comments, then we'll have the list over there. But offering some kind of value, and I think that can be like a tip, like you were talking about, like some kind of a painting tip. I think it could be even something funny. I think it can be sharing something about yourself. I think it can be, just something of value when you show up. So what do you think about that? Because I already have a third tip.
Yeah. Jamie, I have 12 tips that I wrote down.
Like, did you write them down before?
Before we jumped on to go live. And I'm
That's awesome.
writing down what you're talking about so that I don't talk about the same thing. Brain cramp. You just asked me something. You asked me a question about offering value, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, value doesn't have to be anything totally crazy. It
Right.
literally can be, like you said, even something funny. Like, I remember one time I was painting on live on my business page, and I can't remember what painting it was now, but it was a dog. It was a dog portrait. And this was, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago during the summertime. And my family experienced this crazy thing where, I'll try and say it super quickly, but I was jogging in my yard because I like to walk or work out every single day. And I almost stepped on 2 baby squirrels that had fallen out of a nest. I like jumped over them. And so anyway, my girls and I, we picked them up, we put them in a bucket. We were searching, like Googling what to do. Anyway, we finally found a rescue to take them, but it was like 45 minutes away. And I was asking my husband, please, can you drive me? And I get this bucket with baby squirrels. And so I told the story on a live. And yeah, the baby squirrels have nothing to do with, trying to teach you how to market your paintings online, which is what I help with. But it was a super endearing and funny story. And so, like you said, everyone loved that live. I got so many views and comments. And so sometimes it can just be sharing, like you said, a little tidbit.
Yeah. That when you were talking about it being a dog portrait or something, I was thinking about one time when I went live, I wanted to show here in my house the painting that I was doing. So I, picked up my phone and I'm like walking around my house, and I go walking into the living room, and I guess I didn't notice as I was walking that there was a particular smell that usually is not in the living room. And while I was walking over towards where the painting was, luckily, somehow all of a sudden my smell kicked in and I looked down on the carpet and I was about 2 inches away from stepping in where my dog had gotten sick.
Oh
So
goodness.
I had to, I'm like, but so I go back to my studio. I'm like, I'm sorry, I have to end the video. And, I got my husband, he cleans that up. And, I'm trying to do that. Actually, I think he was not here that day for some reason. I might have to go back and watch that video. Anyway, it was a funny thing. And then I ended up coming back to finish the video. And I had a lot more viewers coming back because they wanted to find out, like, is your dog okay? you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I've had funny things like that happen. So, good. I see some other people. How or when should you let people know that you're going live? Oh, okay. Okay. That's a different question. So that's like a whole nother video right there, really, because there are a lot of different ways to be able to do that. But how did you let people know today that we were going live?
Well, yesterday I sent out an email campaign, and this morning, usually I have them scheduled prior, but I was a little behind. So this morning, earlier, I did schedule a post in 2 of my free groups that we were going live, and I also used my text and sent out a text as well. But Jamie, I believe you and I talked about kind of continuing the live conversation the next time we have our coffee chat. So we'll actually be focusing a lot more, like you said, this was a longer conversation, that question. But I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's kind of what we're going to do in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah. In 2 weeks on my page, I think we talked about that, but I'm hearing a lot of echo now. The quick version of that is email, text, post, like really sharing about it. And part of the reason why I do go live at a consistent time is I don't have to do as much of that on the front end because people already know who are following me. So I'm already going to have some people showing up because it's consistently at the same time. And a lot of what I do, I know that people can't watch live at 10:30 on a Monday morning a lot of times. So then what I do is I will send an email on the back end with the replay. So yeah, you can't expect, people to always be watching the live, but we will definitely talk more about tips for getting people to show up. So this is kind of like part 1, and then we'll have part 2 in a couple of weeks. So yeah, hold on to some of those questions, but I think we're on tip number 3, and then we'll definitely, share your tips. So we said consistency as number 1 and offering value as number 2. Number 3, it ties into value, but I think you have to go live with intention. Intention has been a big word that kind of keeps coming up. I'm doing my boot camp videos this week. So yesterday was all about morning routine. And Jamie talked a lot about being intentional and doing things. And even yesterday, Lori, I interviewed, talked about doing things with more intention, with purpose behind them. And, as a business owner, when you do that, you feel like you have control. You feel more confident. And that comes across on your video, which I'm already going into tip number 4 that I just thought of. But what do you think, Amy?
Yeah, definitely intention, and because feeling confident, that's what we all need. I mean, the reason why some of us are not going live is because we're scared, we're nervous, we get stage fright. So yeah, just doing a little bit of preparing like before you go live, and thinking about this kind of stuff, I think is super important, and will kind of like bring that anxiety level down a little bit. So let me know if I can throw in some of my tips there. I can't believe I wrote all these. down. But there are no systematic order here. Good lighting. So I wrote that one down because, like I said earlier, I'm down here in a different setup because I didn't want to wake Tim up. But I did turn on my kitchen lights and I'm sitting facing a window. Yes, there's a window way behind me back here, but I am facing a window. And I also have a ring light off to the side right here.
We can see your ring light, Amy.
Yeah, and my glasses.
Yeah,
Oh, but the ring lights they're great. They really help help with the lighting. Because if they can't see your face and can't see what's happening.
So is somebody keeping track of these tips in the comments? I think we're up to number 4 or 5.
4. Oh, maybe we're up to 5. Because I know when you were talking about intention, you put another one in there. Here's one, okay. Here's one kind of off the beaten path a little bit, but no music in the background or no TV on in the background. Because I'm speaking from experience here. Facebook will just mute. They will mute your video. Sometimes they will just like shut it down completely because of music rights and even the television, because you don't own the rights to that. So that even happened by accident with me one day. My brother was watching TV. I was in the other room, but the TV was loud enough that it picked it up a little bit, and then I got flagged.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So little things like that. Let me see if I can find I'm trying to think of what do you all struggle with the most? Like, what is your biggest fear about going live?
That's what Nilda just said.
Yeah. Here's one. Let me make sure I cross it off so I don't talk about it again. Here's one that I like to do, and I know this will help you all out, and it will also decrease the anxiety of going live. If you, like Jamie was talking about, intention, right? And having a topic, having something to talk about, but a cheat sheet. Sometimes way back in the beginning, I would have like an index card that I just like stuck by my computer. And then nowadays I have like a list, right? Because I've been doing lives for so long. I've got these bullet points like, okay, I'm going to quick, just like I did today before I went live with you, Jamie. I was writing down like, yes, they're tips, but it's also my cheat sheet. So I know, hey, what can I talk about? And that will kind of give you a little bit of direction. So having a cheat sheet is good.
I've been doing all of these videos this week for my boot camp, and I've been typing up so that then I have them for like next time too. So, and I see that Jet is saying something interesting to chat about. And I think sometimes that depends on your following and what they find interesting. I know Jamie is very interested in NASCAR. So probably the people that follow her might also have that same interest. So for her to talk about that would be interesting to her following. If I started talking about NASCAR, my audience would be like, who are you? Because that's not you. That's not, and I'm not interested in that either. We don't live by a NASCAR, there's nothing about, so yeah. So I think that it does depend on your audience. I have made up a brand new freebie, I guess you could say, that I am offering. And it was one of the prizes that I offered this week. And it's 30 different topics to talk about on a live video. So that's one of the things that I am offering and going to be making available, and I'll be talking about a little bit more. But yeah, I think there's 30, maybe a couple of bonuses on there too, I believe. So yeah,
that's an awesome freebie, Jamie. Like wowza! I would totally give you my email for that, but you already have it. I just wanted to say, bring out another point for Jet's comment. So, sometimes what I did, and I still do to this day, if I'm like trying something new with my audience, you literally, Jet, could just make a post on your page, or if you have a free group or something like that, and you could do like a poll. Like you could ask like, what they're most interested in, and then put like 3 to 5 things and see who votes on it. And then whatever you get the most on, then you could pick, kind of go with that type of topic for some of your lives. Yeah. See what Jamie's saying.
Embrace your quirkiness. I love it. Yeah. Yeah.
And just like you were saying, Jamie, earlier too, with the dog, right? I think Jamie has a good point. Yes, you got to embrace it. And I'm just kind of down to earth, roll by the seat of my pants type of gal. And it's like, that's just who I am. So I'm just like that on camera. And I think that, Jamie's got a great point. And yeah, be who you are, because being authentic, we've all heard it before, is super important for people to connect with you. So it is what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. I would call that tip number on my list. Tip number 6, I think, is what I'm to right now, is being authentic. Just be who you are, be authentic, show up. I've showed up with a ball cap and no makeup. I've showed up, different places. I've just show up as you, and look to see what other people are doing, but don't think that you have to do things that way. Get ideas from other people, but don't get ideas to try to copy them, because you can tell, like, I can tell like a difference between somebody being nervous, which I think that that's authentic, and the difference between being nervous and trying to copy what somebody else has done.
Yeah.
Because that feels inauthentic. Yeah.
Big difference. First off, I want to say I agree with you on what you had said about, the hair or the makeup, or like, I don't have makeup on right now. I did not do my hair right now. But what's most important is just showing up and delivering some sort of value and having a conversation and just being here. And that's what people want. So when we fix our hair and we do our makeup, yes, that's going to make us feel a little bit better. Like, oh, I look a little better this morning. Of course, we all want to look good. But I really want you all to remember that, that's not the most important thing to your audience. They just want to see you, hear from you, and have you help them in some way, or make them laugh, or encourage them, whatever the case may be. Let's see what. I wouldn't worry about that, Jessica. If you can do it early in the morning, then do it early in the morning. I try to put my phone on airplane mode at night when I go to bed. Most people will shut their phone off, maybe put it on airplane mode, or maybe just not even open it up and check until they're ready. So, Jessica, do not keep that from going live. It's in my opinion, not a biggie. I would rather wake up and see your notification and go, oh my goodness, Jessica was live. Then I'm going to go back and watch the replay. Yay.
You could always make a post, because Jessica's artwork is beautiful, and you could always make a post with your artwork afterwards and say, I did a live about this, this morning. Would you like to see it? Have people comment. And then you can, they would be watching the replay, but a lot of people would anyway. I think that you have to make it fit into your schedule. And if your schedule is in the morning, go ahead and do the lives. And I don't have my sound on my phone to be bothered by. And honestly, I don't get notifications for when people go live anyway, even if I'm following their page. So I don't get that. So.
And Jamie, you did for what, an entire year? Like, you did the art in the AM every morning.
For 2 months, I did Monday through Friday. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was at 10:30, but for people on the West Coast, that's like 7:30 in the morning. So that's, that's pretty early. And yeah, Nilda's asking, does Facebook automatically notify you? I don't. I don't get notifications anymore for when people are going live, even if I follow their page. So the only way that they're getting notified by me is if they've opted into my text messaging and I'm sending out a text message. They may get an email beforehand, but a lot of times I don't do before. I do afterwards with the replay. So yeah, they're probably not getting a notification, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. This platform used to be better with that, but the same thing, and I know Cheryl's saying that as well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, I'm trying to recall the last time I've had a notification like that. It's been a while.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a while.
Now sometimes, and what I'm doing with this boot camp is I'm creating an event. So if you really want to have people notified, if you want to have a way for them to put it on their calendar, if you want to be able to attract as many people as possible, that's one of the ways that I found is creating an event. I don't do that every week with my normal live, but if it's something like this boot camp or something like the interviews that I'm doing, I've been creating events, and then you can share those into groups, your own groups. You can, give that link to people, different things like that. So I found that to be a good way. And we can get in more to that in 2 weeks too, to get people to show up live. So
yeah. Yeah, I've done the same thing, Jamie, as you know, because I had a challenge too. I know you have one going on now, your boot camp, and the last one that I did, actually for like my big reveal and a couple of things I did do an event for. So yeah, if you know that something is going to be happening where you're definitely going live, then yeah, you most certainly can do that.
yeah.
Yep. Here's another tip I have for those of you that haven't gone live yet, or have only gone live a few times, or still feel uncomfortable going live. You know what I have done, which helped me, is I created a group years ago just for me, and I called it. I still use it once in a while. It's called My Vid Testing. You can call it anything you want because it's just for you, right? So you literally can just create a group and go in there and just start doing lives, and then watch yourself and see how it sounds, and kind of like audit yourself a little bit, like, oh, what can I improve? Or that has helped me. But if you don't even want to go the route of creating your own group, if you're already in a group, like for instance, my membership, Creative Warriors, for those of them who are nervous to go live, I tell them just practice in the group. Just go ahead and press the live button. And Daryl, she did this last month and did an amazing job in our group. We all cheered her on. So if you're in a group like that, Jamie, you just did this during your workshop. Let people go live to practice. So like if you have opportunities like that to just go in a safe place and do it, just try it out.
Yeah. When I first started, I had like a collaboration group of people. So it wasn't, and I do have a private group like that too, but I would go live asking them, is the lighting good? What about this setup? And I would try different positions of my camera. How does this look? Because we were preparing for the collaboration. So I wanted to make sure, and those were some of my first times that I was going live. So yeah, I think that idea of having a group, and Cheryl said that she invited her mom and her sisters. So you do have maybe a little bit of an audience, or even if you can go back and watch it or have somebody else, just watch it in that group if you don't want to invite people in there. But that was really helpful because then I could get them on the live I could show the camera angles and try things out. And that was when I realized that if you have a Droid, you cannot flip your camera so that you can see writing. Like right now we're on StreamYard and you can see my letters the right way because StreamYard mirrors your video. Facebook for a Droid does not do that, and you cannot flip it. With Apple, you can. So, I figured that out, that anytime that I want to do lettering or something where I want to be able to read, I have to do StreamYard or Zoom, or I just pull my camera off my phone off the tripod and I just flip it around so it's pointing down so that people can see what the writing is. So I keep it simple, but yeah, if you have a Droid, you can't flip so that you can see words. So that was definitely something that I had to kind of work through the first time that I did that. Like, oh wait, I'm going to do lettering. What do I have to do? I just physically picked up my phone and flipped it around so that they could see it the right way. So
Good tip. I used to have an Android. Now I have an iPhone, but I'm thinking my next might be another Android. I like things about both of them, but I feel like I don't know, I don't want to get into the heated discussion about droids or iPhones because I do like them both, but I had the same issue, Jamie, that you were just talking about. Like if, I'm painting and I want it to look like how it looks, or like you were saying, letters. Um, so yeah, thanks for telling them that. I think that's a really good tip for them. Um, so Cheryl had mentioned something when she was talking about her mom and sisters in, her private group where she practices. This is kind of goes along with another tip that I wrote down for you all to mention here today. When I first started going live, of course I was scared, just like everyone else. It's a little bit scary. And we all have those times, especially in the beginning, before we build up an audience and things like that, where there's nobody on, or we just feel weird. Like it's like, oh, should I keep talking? Or sometimes I even see people saying, well, I'm just going to wait. I'm going to wait until I see people come on. I'm going to wait. And Jamie agrees with me already. She's shaking her head. No, just when you press the button, start talking, right? Because people are going to see the recording. But what I wanted to say, which might help some of you out, is if you are fearing that you're going to have 0 people on the live, nowadays doesn't bother me. I'll just keep rolling with it. But in the beginning, it did bother me. So I would do sort of what Cheryl was talking about with her group. I would call my mother, I would call my sister, or I would send out a PM and say, hey, do you mind just coming over to my business page because I'm going to go live in a few minutes, and just, act like you're interested, like say something. And that really helped me out a lot to have family members just, chiming in or making a comment. So, and then Facebook will see, hey, she's got some engagement. So let's show it to another person or two. And then slowly I started seeing on the number on the top, like, oh, there's another person watching. There's another person watching. So
yeah, and Amy's given you some pro tips for in 2 weeks that we will talk about how you get people to show up to your live videos, because that's a whole nother thing. You were talking about kind of, being fearful and just kind of those like stories we say in our head. And I'll talk a little bit more about this in a couple of weeks too. But today on my boot camp at 1:00 is all about thoughts. And I'm going to be teaching something brand new that I've never really taught before as part of this series, and about thoughts. And it kind of goes into a little bit about what you're talking about. So I'll be talking more about that today at 1:00 on my page about thoughts. And I've already talked a little bit about the stories that we tell ourselves, and around some of those things. So it's going to be a good one. So I was going to tell a story. You were talking about like the 0 people, and I definitely had that the first couple of weeks, whatever, that I was going live, I told my mom, yeah, hey, I'm going live at this time, my aunt, but there was a time that I was in a collaboration group, and there's when you're leading a group like that of several different people, or if you're participating, there's a lot. There's a lot behind the scenes that goes into allowing a group of people to go live inside of a group, right? If you're facilitating, there are things as an admin that you have to do. So I was in a group, a collaboration group, and I'm all ready and I go live and I do kind of just start talking and no one is coming on. No one. 5 minutes, no one. And I just kept going. I had to just keep going and trust that it was an admin thing. And eventually people were going to be able to come back and watch the replay. So that is a difficult thing because the interaction that you can have on a video, just like we have the comments and we can read those, and that, helps us through when there's no one watching, you don't have that. But you have to trust that people are going to come back. They are going to watch the replay. So you can still interact with, put the comments in there. You can't react with people live, but you can just assume that there are going to be people coming back. And depending on how you share that live, where you put that link, all that, they could be coming back and watching that live for years. Like, I'm putting all of my videos onto YouTube. Amy, did I tell you that I got up to 100 people on my YouTube and now I have a YouTube official name?
That's awesome. Congratulations, Jamie.
So on YouTube, they live on YouTube. So people could come and watch that video. And if the things like you're talking about, like, oh, I'm just going to wait until people pop on, don't say that. Just go. Just start talking, offering value. People will leave your video if you say that because they're waiting for you to offer. I've actually had several people, if I do my introduction, I'll call it, and it's too long, I've had people call me out and say, can you just from now on just get started? Just start doing. It's like, whoa. So I've tried to be conscious of that too. So people will leave your video if they're expecting to come on, and especially if you told them ahead of time, hey, we're going to paint a sailboat today. And if you aren't painting your sailboat within a few minutes, they're like, bye. This is what I showed up for, and you're not. I mean, I know that sounds kind of harsh, but they're not showing up to see you. If you're offering some value, that's what they're showing up to see. Yeah. So, yeah.
Kind of goes back to you really don't have to have the moon and stars don't have to be aligned with the makeup and the hair and the everything. But good lighting is important, I believe. Let's see what Cheryl's saying here.
I think that I probably taught her about speeding up. I go back and watch the replay deliberately and intentionally sometimes so that I can watch it on double speed.
So for me, because she's asking, is there an ideal time for how long a live should be? I mean, I don't really think that there is. This is kind of morphed into different times really throughout the years, because in the beginning it was oh, you should be live for at least 20 minutes. And then long form video was important for an hour. And then short form happened a year and a half ago. And it's 3 minutes. And so, I mean, I don't think there's there's a specific time, but I personally like to jump on for at least 20 minutes to give some sort of, we've been talking about, to give some valuable information or to, entertain, make them laugh or whatever it is I'm doing. But that's kind of my go-to time is typically around an hour. That's what I do for my membership. And just when I go live painting or something like that, it's just, I'm comfortable with the hour time frame. I don't know, Jamie, what your thoughts are on this to help Cheryl out, or if you agree with what I said or not.
Somebody type this in the comments. I'm just getting a ton of echo. Even now when I'm just talking, I can hear the echo. I don't know if anybody else hears it, but there's like a certain, I don't know. You want to have quality over quantity always. There have been videos that I have seen that have gone on for a couple of hours because people are offering value, they're answering questions. Like there have been marathon videos that I've seen that have been live and they've gone on, but because the person is offering value, the quality of what they're offering, people have stayed engaged and people have stayed on those videos. So yeah, Cheryl typed it, quality over quantity always. So the quantity of how many even videos that you do doesn't matter as much as, or the amount of time doesn't matter as much as if you're always offering some type of value to the people who are watching. And now I know that someone is going to ask in the comments, but that would mean that I'm offering all of my stuff for free. Always remember quality over quantity. Even in that situation too. I've offered a ton of things, some of actually my very best things for free, because I want to offer quality, I want to serve, I want to offer value over whether someone pays me or not.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm a business, but I have found, and that goes a whole lot into, a whole nother topic there too. But what I've found is those relationships, building that community, offering and serving people plants a whole different level of the story that we tell ourselves that people won't pay us if we're offering everything for free. So
yeah,
that's my little, yeah.
I mean, I can speak from experience with that too. Like I was nervous about that same thing in the beginning. Like, oh no, I'm going to give too much stuff away. But I 100% agree with you. Like you gotta do, give information that people in your audience are interested in,
I would love to hear what you say about Nilda's question she just asked.
Is this Nilda, correct?
Yes.
How do you know when you're giving away too much? I kind of know if I have something paid, what it is, because I've already created it. Or if it's like something paid, like a boot camp or something like that, I've already created it in my mind first. So if I'm talking about it, I'm going to give some tips and some valuable information, but I'm not going to give away. Let's say that I have 10 things that I'm teaching. Maybe I'll give away 2 or 3 things that I'm teaching, but not the whole thing. If and I don't really do a whole lot of step-by-step painting. I'm going to be creating courses for that, but I don't do it like on a consistent basis. I pretty much create my own art, and I teach artists how to do what I've done, sell their art online, and build a collector base for that. But the ones that I have done, because years ago I did, like I was telling you, the Tuesday night paint nights and things like that. So for instance, when I did that every Tuesday night, I would do a free paint night where I would do one subject that didn't really take me that long. Maybe it took 20 minutes, or maybe I'm giving them a tip that's 15 or 20 minutes. Then I would save like my paid paint night for a painting that was more intricate. So they're still getting great value, but they're going to love it. So then they're going to be like, oh yes, I want to do this because this one's even more awesome. I mean, it doesn't have to just be with painting. It can be with anything that you're talking about, anything that you're offering, giving some little bits and pieces. Yeah, I don't know. That's my spiel. What do you think, Jamie?
So I know Nilda, so I'm just going to call her out a little bit and say if that you're asking that question, you're asking the wrong question. Because you may not realize this, but if you look at anyone that you follow, I read Rachel Hollis books. I follow Lewis Howes. I listen to Brendan Burchard, all of these different influencers. If you are savvy enough on the internet, I would guess that you could probably find about 90% of their information that they offer paid somewhere on the internet. So think about that. All of their information, all of their content that they are asking people to pay for them is probably somewhere on the internet. And how do I know that? Because I do the same thing. There are several things in my course that I have taught free. If you want to call it that, it's not free. I'm offering my time. People aren't necessarily paying me in the moment for that, but if I offer it somewhere on a public place, let's just say it that way. There are a lot of things that I've talked about, offered, that I also offer inside my course that people are paying me for. The difference is the level of access to you. Amy and I were just talking a little bit about this before we went live. People will pay for a different access to you. So when Amy's talking about that she offers some tips and things, and then the paid thing that she's asking them and offering to people is more access to her level of knowledge, higher access of time with her to answer questions. So I think it has a lot to do with that. And all that stuff is out there for free, but it would take you a whole long time to find it because I've got it in a group. I've got it on YouTube. I've got it on my page. I've got it here. I've got, all these different places. That would be a lot of extra time. So people will also pay for convenience. They will pay to make it easier for them inside of a group, inside of a membership, inside of a course. So don't ask that question. That question leads to and is something that you have to work through, probably with a hang up. I'll call it a block about money. That's a lot of probably what it's about. And it's a scarcity kind of idea because you feel like there's not enough of money, people, it kind of like ties into like some imposter syndrome. And I'm only saying that because I got to meet Nilda in Florida and I talked with her, and I know that other people struggle, me included, with those things too. So I just wanted to be honest, and like, you just don't ask that question. Ask, how can I keep showing up? How can I offer value? And then when people start asking you, well, can you answer this about? I can, because that's exactly the kind of thing that I talk about in my course. Right. And so then you're saying, okay, you've reached a limit to what I'm willing to offer you access to me. And now you're moving into the area where you get more access to me, then that's where you pay. So it's not about, I offer a lot of things for free out on public areas that I also offer in my paid, but I'm going to make them a whole lot easier, a whole lot more organized, a whole lot, I'm going to hold you more accountable. I'm going to coach you through, I'm going to answer questions in my paid things. So,
yeah. Yeah. That's a great way to kind of frame it in. And it's kind of like a full circle conversation here, because back in the beginning, and we were talking about, being authentic. And, you are right, Jamie. Like you could search anything now. Even you can look stuff up on AI and all that too, right? But just show up as yourself. Be you. It's okay if there's a blooper here and there. I mean, that's what makes it interesting. And, people will be drawn to you. Not everyone, but the ones that feel like they're
Yeah.
connected with you will be drawn to you because of your personality, your authenticity for what you're doing and talking about that they are interested in. You know, so kind of just boils down to that. She's saying, yes,
Yeah.
Jamie. Yeah.
I know you do, Nilda. I've been seeing you showing up. So
Um, I do. Let me read my chicken scratches. Um, I do have one more tip for going live that we did not talk about. Um, and that is voice inflections. And I don't know if any of you even like think about that or not, but just think about how you talk to your friends in person and your family, and when you're excited about something, or when you're like bummed out about something, or when, like just because I know in the beginning, right? And when we get that fear, when we press the button to do it, sometimes we're just like a deer in the headlights and we talk like monotone and we're like, oh my god. But if you raise your eyebrows, like you can do it right now, like you're not on live with us, right? Do it at home, like raise your eyebrows and say something, and then put your eyebrows down and say the same thing and see how you feel. But that will help to give you some voice inflections as well. I know that too because I've been a singer in bands for my entire life. So
that's
like being on
right.
stage and singing for so long, but that kind of goes along with talking and just, it will help your personality shine through as well. So anyway, that's a little tip that's always helped me, and especially with the eyebrows, because that will help you start feeling it. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
good. My oldest son can like raise one eyebrow like way up higher than the other one. Yeah.
So my oldest daughter can do the same thing. And I remember when she was a baby and I had her in my arms, like literally a little tiny baby, she would be doing that. And one's going up. I'm like, what is this kid doing? She still does that today. It's like, and Emily and I are like, Justine, how do you do that? We're always trying to figure it out, but I think you're just born with it. I don't know if you can
Yeah.
learn that.
I'll tell you a funny story. When I was teaching at the high school level, so high school students are pretty vocal if they have an opinion, usually, right? Like they're not afraid to share their opinions. And I remember one of my students, probably the first or second year that I was teaching, she came up to me. I don't even know how we got into the conversation or how I agreed to allow her to give me this piece of information, but she said, "You talk really monotone." I still, that was probably in 1991 ish. So here we are 22 years later, 32 years. Oh my goodness. And I still think about that because it's true. If you want to hold the interest of other people, if you want to captivate them, I'll say, if you do have to have, I speak a lot with my hands and I'll do that, and I do have inflection. I will. And I've heard people talk about when you show up live, you have to amplify your energy. We talked about energy on day 3 of my boot camp on Wednesday. You have to amplify that energy like 25 to 30% more than you would do if Amy and I were just like sitting across from each other at a table, right? So you have to, just increase that and really make that more dramatic, than you normally would. So having a little bit of coffee before you go live could be your little way to amp that up. I know that some of you, and I've had people ask, and I've never probably drank it on the morning ones, but if you watch, I don't have any more for today. If you watch a lot of my live videos, I have a cup that I have this yellow liquid in there, and that is a natural energy drink. So I use that to give me that little energy boost. And sometimes it's just in my head. Oh, I drank that little energy drink, so I'm going to have more energy. So showing up like that with, yeah, the inflection, like you said, and just the amped up energy is a really good tip for a live
Yeah.
video, because you're trying to hold their interest. And yeah, just sitting there and just kind of being monotone and not really talking and not having any express, like, I don't want to stick around for that. So
Yeah. I mean, and Jamie, you and I mean, we connect so well, but we have different ways of speaking. Like when I took your Create course and I love watching you, and yes, we're friends, and you give great valuable information. Um, and you are much calmer than I am on live. I mean, I can be calm too, but I'm more like flamboyant, louder, things like that. So you can still have voice inflections, whether you speak slower or you're calmer or if you're excited. It doesn't matter because you still be you. Just remember, raise your eyebrows a little bit and put a smile on your face, and it will definitely help things move a little smoother. Yeah.
yeah, I'm going to pull up Jet's comment to kind of end up we've been on here for about an hour, and I do have another live video, a Zoom at 11. So I want to make sure and kind of like finish up at the hour. And you were just talking about, you like to keep it that hour time limit.
Yeah. So I was always worried my energy would seem fake, but I've learned to let go of that worry. That's awesome. Beautiful. Wonderful. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So just be yourself. Um, so a little plug for my friend Jamie here. So you're going to be talking about thoughts today, correct? Is that what you said? And I took Jamie's Create course. It's amazing. It will, it will change your life really if you decide to jump in. And if you have not been following her with what's going on this week, then go back, watch the recordings, and don't forget to jump on when she's live today for the thoughts topic. Because I know, Jamie, you bring so much value, and all your videos this week have been awesome, and your interviews. I'm loving seeing your people. They're amazing people, and they have such great, inspiring stories that you just, bring out so that they can tell the world. And yeah, it's amazing. So I'll be watching. Hopefully, you all will too. And so, in a couple of weeks, we will be on Jamie's page. And we will be continuing this conversation, but it will be more instead of like going live tips, it will be more on how to Jamie, how to get people to come and show up and engage and things like that. Correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I had a wonderful time. Hopefully you all did too.
And thank you, Amy. I wasn't expecting for you to do a little plug, but I appreciate that.
Yeah, of course. No problem. All right. Cheers to all of you. We hope that you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you soon.